Hanoi's Old Quarter is a vibrant, historic district known as the city's commercial heart, characterized by narrow, bustling streets, ancient brick houses, and 36 distinct streets specializing in goods like silk, silver, and traditional medicine. It is a top tourist hub for street food, lively nightlife, and cultural, local life. Have you been to Hanoi? What was your experience like in traveling to Vietnam? We love to hear your comments and feedback. The first thing you notice in Hanoi's Old Quarter is the sound. Not one sound, but 1,000 tiny collisions of life layered together like an orchestra with no conductor. Motorbike engines buzz like restless insects. Vendors call out from narrow storefronts. A bicycle bell rings somewhere behind you. Metal ladles strike the sides of soup pots. Conversations spill from sidewalk cafes and fast, musical Vietnamese. Above it all, tangled electric wires stretch across the streets like black vines, connecting buildings that seem to lean toward one another as if sharing secrets accumulated over centuries. You begin your walk early in the morning, when the heat is still gentle and the streets are waking from the night. The air smells of broth, charcoal smoke, fresh herbs, damp stone, and strong coffee. Tiny plastic stools appear on sidewalks, as if conjured from nowhere. Elderly residents sweep the fronts of narrow tube houses while shopkeepers roll open corrugated metal doors with loud, rattling groans. Somewhere nearby, a radio plays an old Vietnamese ballad. The Old Quarter does not unfold in neat lines. It curls around you. Streets twist unexpectedly, opening into crowded intersections before narrowing again into alleyways barely wide enough for two people to pass. Every street seems devoted to a different trade, a remnant of the district's centuries-old guild system. On one street, shops overflow with silk lanterns and embroidered fabrics. On another, polished metal kitchenware catches the morning light like mirrors. Nearby, stacks of incense, bamboo baskets, and paper offerings rise in colorful towers outside tiny storefronts. The buildings themselves feel alive. Many are tall and impossibly narrow, squeezed between neighbors in a struggle for space that has lasted generations. Their faded yellow walls carry layers of history, French colonial balconies with peeling green shutters, weathered wooden doors, old Chinese-style characters painted above entrances, moss creeping down cracked corners after years of monsoon rains. Some balconies bloom with hanging plants and bird cages. Others hold laundry fluttering above the chaos below. Crossing the street becomes its own ritual. At first, the rivers of motorbikes seem terrifying. They flow continuously through intersections without obvious order, weaving around pedestrians with impossible precision. But eventually you learn the secret. Move slowly, steadily, predictably. The traffic bends around you like water around a stone. Your heartbeat races the first few times, but soon you find yourself smiling at the absurd elegance of it all. You stop at a tiny street-side stall where steam rises from giant pots of pho. The cook barely looks up before assembling a bowl with practiced speed. Rice noodles disappear beneath fragrant beef broth simmered for hours with cinnamon, star anise, ginger, and cloves. Fresh cilantro, green onions, lime, and sliced chili are added at the last moment. Sitting on a plastic stool only inches above the pavement, you eat while motorbikes stream past endlessly beside you. The broth is rich yet delicate, comforting and deeply aromatic. Around you, office workers, students, and elderly neighbors eat quietly before beginning their day. Farther ahead, the scent changes from soup to coffee. Hanoi's cafe culture feels woven into the city's soul. Tiny cafes hide everywhere, behind courtyards, up narrow staircases, tucked inside ancient buildings. Some are barely larger than a living room. Others open onto balconies overlooking busy streets below. You climb a dim stairwell to a second-floor cafe, where ceiling fans spin lazily overhead. From the balcony, the Old Quarter stretches before you like an endless living maze. A cup of Vietnamese egg coffee arrives slowly. At first glance, it resembles dessert more than coffee, thick whipped egg cream floating atop dark, robust coffee. The flavor is unexpectedly luxurious. Bitter, sweet, velvety, strong. Below, the street continues its non-stop performance. A woman balancing baskets across a shoulder pole walks steadily through traffic. A delivery driver carries impossible stacks of cardboard boxes on a motorbike. School children in uniforms laugh while sharing snacks beside a storefront. As the morning deepens, the district grows hotter and louder. Tourists carrying cameras mingle with local residents buying vegetables, flowers, and fresh herbs from market vendors. Near Dongxian Market, the atmosphere intensifies. The giant Soviet-era market building hums with energy. Inside, narrow aisles overflow with fabrics, spices, souvenirs, electronics, dried seafood, and household goods. Bargaining rises and falls in rapid exchanges. The smell of durian mixes with incense and engine fumes drifting in from outside. Yet despite the noise and density, moments of quiet appear unexpectedly. You turn down a narrow alley, and suddenly the city softens. Inside a small temple courtyard, incense smoke drifts through still air. Red lacquered wood gleams softly in filtered sunlight. An elderly man lights incense sticks and bows silently before an altar filled with flowers and fruit offerings. Outside the walls, horns continue blaring, but in here time slows completely. That contrast defines Hanoi's Old Quarter. Chaos and calm coexist within steps of one another. In the afternoon, sunlight reflects sharply off old facades and puddles left by a brief tropical rain shower. The sidewalks become even more crowded. Tiny barbershops operate beneath trees. Street vendors slice green mangoes into plastic bags sprinkled with chili salt. Tourists search for handmade lanterns and lacquerware while locals sit beneath umbrellas drinking iced tea so strong and sweet it seems to revive everyone instantly. As evening approaches, the district transforms again. Golden light settles over the old buildings, softening their rough edges. Street food stalls multiply across the sidewalks. Smoke rises from charcoal grills where skewers of pork and chicken sizzle loudly. The smell is irresistible. Garlic, fish sauce, caramelized sugar, chili, lemongrass. Plastic tables and stools spread into the streets as though the entire neighborhood has decided to eat together outside. You follow the growing crowds toward Hon Kim Lake at the edge of the Old Quarter. The atmosphere becomes almost festive. Couples stroll beneath trees wrapped in lights. Teenagers gather for selfies. Elderly residents practice slow Tai Chi movements near the water, while children chase soap bubbles floating through the humid evening air. In the center of the lake, Turtle Tower glows softly against the darkening sky, carrying legends that every resident seems to know by heart. Back in the Old Quarter, the night deepens, but never truly quiets. The beer streets come alive. Travelers from around the world sit shoulder to shoulder on tiny stools drinking fresh Bia Hoi, Hanoi's famously cheap draft beer, while music spills from bars and laughter echoes down narrow lanes. Yet only a few streets away, local families sit together eating late dinners in relative calm beneath dim fluorescent lights. The Old Quarter at night feels both ancient and young at the same time. Neon signs flicker beside temples that have stood for centuries. Luxury travelers walk past elderly women selling fruit from woven baskets exactly as they may have decades ago. The city never seems trapped in the past, yet it never abandons it either. Late at night, after many tourists have returned to hotels, another side of the district emerges. Metal shutters close one by one. Street sweepers move quietly through the lanes. A few food vendors remain open for night workers and insomniacs. The humid air cools slightly. Somewhere in the distance, a train horn echoes faintly through the darkness. You walk one last time through the maze-like streets. Under dim streetlights, the faded walls and shuttered shops seem to hold memories from countless generations. Merchants, colonists, revolutionaries, poets, cooks, students, families. The Old Quarter is not polished or orderly. It is crowded, noisy, unpredictable, and sometimes overwhelming. But that is exactly what makes it unforgettable. Because Hanoi's Old Quarter is not simply a place you visit. It is a place that engulfs your senses completely, a living current of history, food, movement, and human energy that carries you along until, without realizing it, you begin moving at its rhythm too.